Hello friends, this is Satish Paryani, working as an assistant professor in Department of Mechanical, Walchand Institute of Technology, Solapur. Today, we will be discussing a very important concept an entrepreneur should know about it is about centralized contracting. There are two types of contracting generally, a centralized contracting and decentralized contracting. In this chapter but today we will cover about centralized contracting. At the end of this session, the learning outcome will be the students will be able to understand the centralized contracting. The contents will be the centralized contracting and what are the advantages and disadvantages associated with this centralized type of contracting which an entrepreneur should understand before taking a decision, because finally he is a decision maker who has to have all the pros and cons of his decision. So this is, let us go ahead with centralized contracting. In a centralized contracting environment, there is one procurement department and the procurement manager may handle procurements on many projects. The project manager contracts the department when he or she needs help or to ask question. We will understand it. The first line itself states the procurement that it is centralized. The name itself suggests it is centralized. I will give you example. Centralized contracting. Suppose an industry is there. They are in manufacturing, let us say refrigerators. They are manufacturing televisions. They are manufacturing mobile phones. They are manufacturing ACs. They are manufacturing washing machines. These are the five, I will say. So there will be a one department in centralized type of contracting which will be handling all projects of this all departments. Means there will be one procurement department or the procurement manager or project manager which will be looking after the developments or the procurements of washing machine department, ACs department, refrigerator department. So this it is called a centralized departments. Means one department is having the members who are looking after all departments. We'll go ahead. The form of contracting environment will impact the procurement manager's ability and authority. It is let us say if a entrepreneur want to make a centralized contracting or decentralized contracting, means he has to bear the pros and cons of both way. It depends on the product also, it depends on certain decisions also, whether which advantage is more suited for me rather than disadvantage, or which if he go for other, if disadvantages are more in current situation, he can shift it. I've seen the cases where current centralized contracting to decentralized contracting again back to the original centralized contract. It depends upon the entrepreneur's thinking or entrepreneur decision making at that moment of time. Let us understand what different advantages and disadvantages. First we'll go with the advantages. Centralized contracting advantages. The first important point, because they are the part of department that focuses on procurement, centralized contracting can result in procurement manager with high level of expertise. Here the skill level will be very high, because if let the previous example what I have shared you, refrigerator department, washing machine department, AC department, TV department, mobile phones department, he can have the experience or expertise of vendors known. Let us say that he can understand this vendor how he will perform when there will be a firefighting kind of situation, whether he will be able to give what not. Let us say if he has a previous experience in washing machine, he can utilize that experience in the refrigerator department. In refrigerator department, he can utilize in TV kind of department. Think this is the very, very important concept. He thinks from different angles because he becomes expertise in that. Standardized company practices allow efficiency and help improve understanding. He can make a common contract, a common process, a standard process which company follows, and his efficiency improves, which also helps him understanding it. There will be a shortage of, see, it happens also in centralized contracting. Even if he can use his expertise, if I require more expertise rather than a typical expertise in one field, I require the jack in all rather than king in one, then this centralized contracting is more useful. A procurement department specifically will provide its employee with continuous improvement, training and shared lessons learned. A manager or an entrepreneur can call, yes, you have to learn from this, what we have learned, why we have failed or why we have succeeded at very fast rate in washing machine department, so that we can not repeat that mistakes in refrigerator department. A simple example what I'm bringing. So they need to provide the continuous training, continuous improvement training, a shared lessons what they are doing. So this happens in that case. Right? This is very important case. Now we will go with centralized contracting. What are the disadvantages? Major disadvantage. One of the major disadvantage. One procurement manager may work on many projects. What we have seen, which is the basic core of centralized contracting. So the individual must divide his or her attention among all projects. As I told you, if the project manager is there, he has to think from washing machine, he has to, and all suppose that are on firefighting, then their stress can come to him. He feels that he is overloaded. Even though this happens, the procurement manager will likely to have less time to spend working on one project and understanding the unique needs, and more likely to forget important details about the other project. It happens. There are few situations which govern this disadvantages. Let us say that procurement manager, or that if the entrepreneur decides to go for centralized contracting, and if the entrepreneur decides that this procurement manager will looking with his team for all 4 departments. If that procurement manager is having good relations with refrigerator and with having poor relations, let us say, with washing machine, so there can be little more attention given on the projects of refrigerator rather than washing machine, or there can be some quarrel or little bit more heavy discussions, I will say, rather than not quarreling, heavy discussions in that case with washing machine departments. And if the both enmities on the higher side, it can go certain losses to the organization. The organization can lose on these parts. Similarly, more attention will be given to refrigerator because he is having a support, or he is having a good rapport with that department. This happens. Centralized contracting, this happens. So many times the entrepreneur needs to take the call what he will be doing. But when you see a small startup kind of things, a small this happens generally for centralized contracting big organization, which generally more suited there. In small startup kind of thing, generally this centralized contracting is much more useful. They are not in a structured way, but yes, they are doing the same work, same as centralized contracting, because they are having limited small startups, small new companies, new entrepreneurs, because they are living with limited resources in the terms of manpower, limited money they are having. So generally they go for, you have to look after this, you have to look after that to the managers. But we need to think from, entrepreneur needs to think what are the pros and cons. We have to think and then we have to take the decision. A small test, a small quiz, what I am thinking. Think it. Whether below the statement is advantages or disadvantages of centralized contract. Simple. It may be more difficult for a project manager to obtain contracting help when needed. Whether it is advantage or disadvantage of centralized contracting. Yes, definitely it is a disadvantage because it is difficult for project manager to obtain contracting help when needed in that case. I have taken references from these. Thank you.